Hey guys, my name is Jesse, and in this video I want to tell you my experiences learning 3 languages at the same time. So let's do it. First of all, I would like to address why I wanted to learn 3 languages at the same time. First of all, I would like to say that back then in 2019, I started to learn English. My first language is not English, my mother tongue is Spanish, right? So, but in the process that I was learning English, I realized that I really like to learn languages. It's really interesting. So basically, I was learning English and I set up a life goal. For my 30s, I would like to learn as much as I can on this field of languages. I would like to speak at least 5, 6, 7, I don't know how much, as much as I can for my 30s, right? So basically, I set up a life goal, which is learn languages before my 30s, right? Basically that. So my process to choose a language was so basically like this. French is a language really beautiful and I really like it, right? Chinese on the other side is a language really interesting. The culture is really interesting for me, and I really like it because it's a bit challenging. I like challenges. I like to learn new things. Basically, Chinese is a challenge language, and also the culture I found it really interesting. So that's why I started to learn Chinese. Okay, great. And the third language, which is Japanese, I really found interesting because there is a lot of anime out there. So I say, well, it could be interesting to learn it because a good reason for me could be try to understand this media in Japanese, right? So basically, my main reason of why I wanted to learn Japanese is because I was able to try to watch anime, right? That I really like. So basically, that's the reasons of why I wanted to learn these 3 languages. French because I really found interesting, Chinese because I really like the culture and it's really challenging and I like challenge, and Japanese because there is a lot of media out there like anime that I can watch through while I am learning it, right? Okay, great. Now I want to tell you my struggles learning these 3 languages. At the beginning, Chinese and Japanese are really similar. I mean, I know that it's different because Japanese has hiragana, katakana, and kanji, and Chinese doesn't have alphabet, right? But what happened? Basically, sometimes I was realizing that kanji characters with Chinese characters sometimes are the same thing. What I mean is, some words are the same in Chinese and in Japanese, but the pronunciation is different, right? So I say, well, that's really crazy. I was mixing them, right? Because I was learning at the same time 2 languages where I was a beginner and was a bit difficult. So I say, well, I will stop Japanese for this moment. I will focus on Chinese and French, right? But back then I was really busy. So basically I was learning Chinese and French. French I reached like B1 level, and in Chinese I was like A1, A2, which in Chinese they call it HSK1, HSK2, right? So what happened? Basically, I decided to try to learn both. Although, after a while, I realized that it's not really beneficial for me because I was really busy at work. So I decided, well, I will learn only one at a time. Okay, I want to be honest and tell you, basically, at the end, I decided to learn one at a time because I was really busy, right? So basically, I said, well, I will learn French, which is a young B1, and when I reach B2 level, I will keep going with Chinese, which are a young HSK2, basically, right? So then I started to learn. I started to learn only French, right? In the process of doing it, I learned many things on French. So that's basically my process. I started with 3 languages, but in the real life, in the real day, I didn't have enough time to learn the 3 of them. So basically I choose one, and then I was thinking, well, I will choose one after I reach intermediate level, I will come back to Chinese in this case, because I realized that when you're learning two languages or three at the same time, you're a beginning on all of them, it's really challenging. So I decided, well, I will learn one, which is French, and then after I have B2 level, I will keep going with Chinese at a beginner level. So that's what I realized at the end of the day. So I started to learn Chinese. I started to learn French first for a while, B1, B2 level. After that, I started to learn Chinese, and that's basically my process of how I started this learning Chinese, Japanese, and French, and how I finished, right? I think learning a language is really interesting. Basically, I would like to set up few advices to you if you want to learn one. Okay, great. One advice that I want to tell you is choose properly. So there is a lot of languages, but my advice to you is gonna be try to choose at least one language that you find interesting, because if the language in the process of learning that language, it gets harder, it will help you to keep moving forward in the hard times. So my advice to you is try to choose a language that you really find interesting, because it will motivate you to keep going forward in the hard times, right? Then try to set up a maximum of 2 languages at the same time, and try to at least have an intermediate language on one, and in the second one try to have a beginner level, right? So you can have a difference of level between each of them, so it's gonna be more easier to you while you are learning them. That's it. That's my video. I hope you like it and find interesting. Basically, this is my very first video on YouTube. I will be keep sharing content about language learning on the future. So if you like it, or if you like it, please leave a like. I will see you then in the next one. Bye bye.